Hi everyone, my name is Tori, this is Novel Life, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have some romance recommendations where the guy falls first. This is probably, to be honest, I love reading romance in general, but when I see this in a book, I get so freaking excited. Because when the guy falls first, it just takes the pining, the finally giving into the tension to the next freaking level. Do you know what I mean? I hope that makes sense, but I have a list to share with you where the guy falls first. Of course, if you have any romance recommendations for me where the guy falls first, please drop them in the comments down below because I absolutely love reading them. But the first book I have to share with you is one that recently came out, and it's one that I recently read, and that is Reckless by Elsie Silver. So I just read this book, completely fell in love with this book. I think Theo Silva, for me, depending on the day, takes the top for the favorites in this series, like above Cade Eaton too, which is like, I didn't think anyone could beat Cade Eaton, okay? Now this one has a lot of things that I personally usually do not like in a romance. And I was extremely nervous to go into this book because it has secret and surprise baby. So basically we see our female character Winter. You've met her in the other Chestnut Spring series. In this book, she gets her redemption. She has done a lot of things in the past. She is Summer's sister. Summer is from the first book, Flawless. And we see that she's really struggling with her husband. She's finally getting a divorce at the beginning of the book. She finally leaves him. All of that stuff, right? She comes to Chestnut Springs. She meets the whole gang of the small town, right? And in that gang is Theo Silva. And they kind of have this banter back and forth. Theo and Winter really go at it, and I love their banter. And that kind of really does continue throughout the whole book, even when they do get together. But they have a one-night stand. That one-night stand turns into Winter becoming pregnant. And she has the baby, but there is a time jump for 18 months. So the baby's now like super tiny. She's 9 months old. Theo does not know in this book, and that just takes it to a whole other level when all these things start coming out. Now, I say that the guy falls first because the moment that he meets Winter, Theo knows. He's like, oh, this is the girl I'm gonna marry. Like, this is it for me, and I'm gonna do anything possible. I'm gonna wait for however long she needs me to until she's on board, because this is my girl. This is the person I'm gonna marry. And I love that. That energy is what I love from a guy in romance books, especially when they fall first, because they're just like, I know she's it. Now it's not a if she gets with me, it's a when she gets with me. Theo Silva, he is absolute perfection in my eyes. I feel like I could talk about that book over and over and over again. Of course, the next book I have to talk about is going to be a hockey romance, and that is Weak Side by S.J. Silvis. When I read this book, I honestly was blown away by how freaking much I loved this book. And this is another one where the guy falls first, and it's only because our female character doesn't want to fall in love with anyone. She literally doesn't want to be in a relationship. She just gets out of a relationship at the beginning of the book when she finds her ex cheating. And, now she's thrown into this whole, I'm rooming with this really famous, hockey star for our college. I don't want to room with him. I don't want anything to do with him. Then that turns into a fake dating thing at the same time that they're roommates, and it just gets even crazier, like level after level after level. And one thing that our main male character figures out pretty early on in the book, it's not like a hard, I know she's it for me, but she becomes his weak side. I love finding the title of a book actually in the book, and there is a quote where he says, she became my weak side. And at that moment, he does everything he can to push her and break down her walls, because he knows her past with her ex and he knows all that stuff. Loved it. Love this hockey romance. This is more of an enemies, slightly two friends, two lovers. So it's got a lot of things going for it. Love this one. I've talked about it a bunch of times. Another one of my all-time favorite, literally all-time favorite, Guy Falls First, is The Hookup by Kristen Callahan. Yes, this is an old book. Yes, it was published in 2016. Yes, I just read this last year for the first time. Am I mad about it? No. I'm kind of mad that I never read it before, but I read it at the perfect time. And let me tell you, Drew Baylor in this book, he knows as soon as he meets our female character, he knows. He's like, I'm done. Every other woman, what? No. This is it for me. She is it for me. And I'm going to do everything I can to break down her walls, get under her skin, and make myself a permanent stance in her life. And she is constantly pushing back. I'm not going to lie. Because he used to be a playboy, because he used to, you know, have all of these girls that surrounded him because he is a football star. She is obviously, you know, like not all interested in that and not all like believing that he really is going to stay with her and like not cheat on her, which, I mean, to be fair, he recognizes that. He's like, yeah, I do have a past, but I'm telling you, and you might not believe me, but I'm going to prove it with my actions. And he freaking does that in this book, which that's what makes Drew Baylor such an amazing book husband, book boyfriend, all of the above. He is amazing. I love him so much. He is so patient with our female character. Oh, this is one of those books where I just devoured page by page, and I just fell in love with the romance and with the characters and their story, and I was on the journey with them, and I love it. Yeah, he falls first. It's fantastic. All the pining is in this book too, and it is great. It is fantastic. The next one I have is Blame It on the Vodka by Fiona Cole. So this one is one where the guy falls first, and it's only because, like, you see it right off the bat, right? It's only because he asks her out at a college party, like, hey, do you want to come home with me? And she straight up laughs in his face and was like, no, not gonna happen. So with this book, it's really funny the way that they kind of meet and the way that he falls first. So Austin is at a college party, and when they're in college together, Ray or Raylan goes up to him and was like, hey, I want to take you home with me. Do you want to come home? You want to come home with me? And he straight up laughs in her face and was like, no. And she's like, what? You're gonna turn this down? Like, you're gonna turn me down? Like, what? Who does that? And he's like, it's because I'm gonna want more with you. And you're not in that right space, and you're not, you know, at that place to want more, and that's okay. So he literally becomes her best friend for years. Like, he is by her side for freaking years. And if that's not the ultimate guy falls first, like, guy falls first, knows that she's not ready for a relationship, but still stays by her side as her best friend until she's ready. Like, if that doesn't scream love, I don't know what does. You know what I mean? Now, it does kind of turn into a, you know, marriage of convenience, kind of a little bit. Like, they have this Vegas wedding where they're both drunk because he's like, I'm not gonna have sex with you until we're married. Like, that's how it is. And so they decide both, when they're drunk, they both go get married, have a one night stand, and then they both wake up and she regrets it. She's like, no. Now she has sworn off men. She is like a man eater. That's like the best way I can describe her. I really love her, but a lot of people are not going to love Raylan. I personally loved her because I understood where everything came from. But the way that their relationship plays out over the book is one of those things where he's like, I know that you were it for me, and I've been patiently waiting for you to kind of like get over this trauma, but you haven't, and I can't wait anymore. At that point, he's like, not gives her an ultimatum. He's just like, I gotta move on with my life. And she finally has it like a click at the end of the book, and it's so good. Oh my God, I loved this one. This is one of my favorites in the series. This whole Blame It on the Alcohol series by Fiona Cole. So good. Highly recommend. The next one I have to share with you is Undulate by Elodie Hart. So this is a single dad romance where he is one of the co-owners for the sex club Alchemy in London, and you know, his wife recently passed away within, I think, the year of cancer. So he has these two little girls that he is still kind of grieving and healing from that. And the little girls obviously still remember their mother. So, you know, they're doing what they can to heal and move forward. But at the same time, he starts having this friends with benefits situation with the female character's best friend from the first book. So she's like a wild child, basically. She goes into alchemy and is like having a good time, where he is like, doesn't want anything to do with it. He does all the finance, like he's daddy's spreadsheet, okay? But he does all the finance and stuff, so he doesn't actually go into the club, but he starts kind of going in there thinking like, yeah, maybe I just need to blow off some steam. Maybe I just need a woman in my life. That doesn't mean I never loved my wife, but she's gone and I have to kind of move forward. And so while they definitely set boundaries at the beginning, where this is just a strict sex thing, like friends with benefits, that's it, he definitely starts feeling a lot of emotions really quickly for her, and definitely first. She is someone who was like, okay, we set these boundaries, and he was like, nope, boundaries? What boundaries? You know, screw that. I'm feeling something towards you. And I really liked how he kind of was battling with, you know, moving forward, but also staying in the past. Like, it was this weird situation that he was in, and he finally just lets himself go. And when they finally admit their love towards each other, it's so sweet because she has a really cool relationship with the children too. So if you're looking for one of those single dad romances where he does fall first, and usually the dads don't fall first because they're the ones that are like hard on the boundaries, but in this case it was her, and he kind of starts falling for her first and like wants to cuddle and wants that kind of relationshipy vibe. And I thought it was really sweet. I loved it. Now, the last one I have to talk about is Rule Number 5 by Jay Wilder. I've never read anything by this author. I picked it up because it was in the top 100 on Amazon a couple weeks ago, maybe a little over a month ago now. And I thought, why not? It's a hockey romance. Now, our female character has sworn off hockey players. Don't we love that? Because we know at the end of the book, like, she's going to end up with a hockey player, right? But she has these rules. Like, don't fall for hockey players, don't exchange numbers, don't kiss, like all of those things, right? Rule number 5 is don't fall for a hockey player. We love it. She has her reasons for not wanting to fall for hockey players, which you discover in the book, but he knows what her rules are. Like, the first time they meet in a bar, he knows what her rules are because she tells him, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna push those boundaries and I'm gonna like just bulldoze over your rules. And I'm going to do it with, breaking down your walls. It's once again, he's like, I know what I want and I'm going to go get it. It's one of my favorite things to read. And when he starts having feelings for her, that doesn't scare him. Like, you think it would scare him and it doesn't. He's just like, well, I guess this is what it is and we're just going to roll with the punches. And I love that. I personally loved this book. I was actually surprised that I picked up a new to me author, and I really enjoyed this romance. I think the second book is already out or it's coming out soon, but I'm really interested in that book. I don't know who it follows, but I really like discovering new authors, especially when they're hyped or on the top charts, because I want to see what they're all about, right? And I really love it when I discover one that I really enjoy and it works for me. So this is one that I would also highly recommend because it was fantastic. But that is all of my Guy Falls First romance recommendations for you. What kind of emoji should I have for this video? Guy Falls First. Ooh, this one's kind of hard. I don't know. Drop me your most used emoji in the comments down below. Like your top one that's always at the corner on your recently used pages, on your recently used emoji page, because I always like to see what people use. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more content for me. As always, I hope you're living a novel life, and I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.